It's time for the Playmaker Spotlight with Executive Coach and Vistage Chair, Dick Smith.
Well, welcome once again, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Playmaker Spotlight, the part of Get Down to Business, where we speak to CEOs, presidents, business owners, and they tell their stories and talk about best practices with you. We're brought to you in part by Vistage, the world's largest CEO advisory board organization, and I am your host, Dick Smith, the CEO Business Coach, and I'm an award-winning chair for Vistage International. So on tonight's program, I'm very thrilled to have with us Brian Holdampf. He's president of Adapt Telephony Services, headquartered in Oak Brook. He's going to explain what it is. I call it a call center, a connection center, perhaps, is how Brian might refer to it. But we'll get some definition here in a minute about that. But from their website, I gleaned this off. It says 1997, Adapt enables businesses to deliver communications at the speed of now. Adapt is highly honored as a North American reseller and systems integrator and delivers, develops, and installs and supports omni-channel contact centers, communications, serving clients in more than 25 states. Their team specializes in sales, development, systems engineering and implementation, project management, and technical product support. Brian, welcome to Playmakers.
Well, thanks, Dick.
Glad to have you with us. Hey, tell us a little bit more about the backstory, the CNN story. How did you get started? What is the firm all about? What do you do in the simplest terms?
Sure. We got started in 97. It was in the early .com era, and it was right when voice technology, telephone systems, and data technology started to converge. And me and the two other founders, Brett Zibkowski and John Goodman, we were just young guys who were really interested and enjoyed the technology, and it was a very entrepreneurial spirit, and we decided that we engaged with this product, saw that it was an advanced and very future-looking vision for the convergence of those worlds, and we jumped in with both feet and decided to be an integrator for them.
And who, without naming the clients, what were some of the kinds of clients you first? Call centers, I assume? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, call centers. Walgreens is an example of a great client of ours. We do work at their help center, and one of the things that we did is we automated the process of distributing their tickets to their agents. And basically, we turned their critical ticket turnaround time for their pharmacies from an average of 18 hours down to 2 hours.
Wow. So, great improvement. So walk me through that. A customer would call, a Walgreens customer would call in?
It's actually the help center for their stores. So they were at 4,000 stores when we were starting with them. They're up around 8,000 now. And as they build them, problems happen. Something breaks. And so it's where the stores call in and open tickets.
Oh,
and so we took sort of a human process that had multiple supervisors managing tickets, and we automated that process and made it a skills-based routing where we make decisions on like 400 different skills and a bunch of different levels of criticality and get those tickets to the right agent as quickly as possible.
So whatever the store needed, if they needed a new display case, if they needed a register was broke down, whatever, more product, you guys are part of that fast turnaround solution.
Exactly.
Yeah, great, okay. So you became president right out of the block?
Yes, it was.
Your two partners are still involved in the business?
Yes.
And so how many employees do you have altogether, and where are your offices?
We've grown to 120 employees. Our main office is in Oak Brook, where we employ about 30 people, and we're growing. And the rest of the people, about 90 people, work out of their homes throughout the country.
Oh, okay. And what geographic area do you serve? In Walgreens' case, it's 8,000 stores across the continental United States and Canada, I assume, right?
Yes, yeah. We serve all basically of the United States. We do some international deployments for our clients that are based in the United States.
Gotcha. So there are a bunch of people, I suspect, that try to compete with you. None are quite as good. I'm sure you feel that way. But how do you really differentiate your services with against your competitors? How does that work for you? What's unique about you guys?
The thing that we've done is, as we started out as technology leaders. We learned the product better than anybody else, in part because we ourselves, the owners, deployed the product. We built it, we learned it, and we used it. As we progressed on, we became best at selling the product. We started to work in vertical markets, and specific credit unions is one of our most successful markets. And then as the product and our company grew up larger, we started to add in what I call program management. We brought in a partner from KPMG who joined our firm. She was a 15-year partner there and has added the Big Five consulting methodology and delivery to our organization over the last few years.
So helping you to strategically plan and execute in the best possible way.
Exactly. So we do large enterprise deployments in a Big Five consulting model, and because we're not a giant, Accenture, we're about half the price of that.
Gotcha.
So it makes a big difference.
Well, if you're just tuning in, this is the Get Down to Business Playmaker Spotlight, brought to you in part by Vistage International, the world's largest CEO and business owner private advisory board organization. And we're talking to Brian Holdampf, president of Adept Telephony Services. That's a word that doesn't get used very often. I had to practice. So tell us about your ideal customer. You mentioned credit unions work for you. So describe, for our audience, who would work best.
The ideal customer for us is somebody that has a call center, or what we tend to call a contact center, where they're bringing in phone calls, emails, web chats. Could be social media interactions, could be interactions from smartphone apps, all of those things, and routing and making intelligent business decisions to them and presenting the appropriate information to the agent when they get connected to somebody.
I would guess that the people on the and your employees on the receiving end of these calls have to be a particular skill set and behavioral type person, right? How important are those people to your success?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Our success is mainly built on the success of our people. We are the teammates at Adapt. We strive to be the best at what we do. We look for people that are very sharp and interested and always wanting to learn, because in the technology world, I sort of liken it to a river. You can jump in at any point, and you always have to keep swimming. You must always keep learning and must always advance. And that's really what we're about. So if somebody's looking for a career where you can continue to grow and interact with exciting new technologies, that's what we're all about.
Right. So that's the culture you promote. A lot of training, a lot of opportunity to advance.
Exactly. We have a really strong teamwork environment. One of my most proud statistics about the organization, we've been in business for 18 years, and we've only had 20 people quit in that whole time period.
And then I understand that about 10 of them have come back to you and asked to be rehired, and you've hired about 60% of them back. Is that right?
Exactly.
That's great, off your website. So give me your vision for your firm 3 to 5 years from now. I know technology is always, as you say, you jump in a river and you got to keep swimming ahead of it. What's going to change with technology or whatever, the way we do business?
Sure. The main thing that we're adjusting to, which is what a lot of software deployment companies are adjusting, is that the PBX contact center market is expanding into using hosted software as opposed to locally based software. Mm-hmm. So we're becoming experts on deploying it in a hosted environment and working closely with our manufacturer on developing out the product set for that. Got it.
So how big do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? Do you guys have great plans for growth, acquisition, that kind of stuff?
Our plans are mainly for organic growth, but we plan on being a $100 million company within 5 years and over 500 people, and continuing on our path of success with interactive intelligence.
Good for you. So where can our listeners find out more information? Perhaps they're looking for a job in a great company like yours, or perhaps have call center needs or connection center needs.
Sure. Our website is www.teamadapt.com, and that's a great place to contact us.
Well, that's great. Do you have any advice before we finish off here for entrepreneurs, young aspiring entrepreneurs?
Sure. The main thing to me that I found as a success is really learning your business. Mm-hmm. Another one that I've always followed is hiring great people. give them a direction, and then get out of their way.
Get out of their way. I like that. Yeah, good for you. Well, I'm afraid we're just about out of time, but I'd like to thank you, Brian Holdampf, president of Adapt Telephony Services out of Oak Brook, for being with us today. And again, your website, www.teamadapt.com. So thanks again, Brian. I'd like to thank our listeners once again for tuning in. This has been the Playmaker Spotlight with your host, Dick Smith, the CEO Business Coach and award-winning chair for Vistage International. You can find me on LinkedIn, or go ahead and email me at dick.smith@vistagechair.com. Now, stay tuned for more of Get Down to Business with your host, Shalom Klein. See you next week.
The Republican